You have to complete 5 factors. Even one precept is enough for 1 hour. There are so many things to explain. Otherwise, the Buddha might have said, you should not kill. The Buddha never uttered such a word. He defined all these things. What are the factors? First thing, there must be another living beings in this world. Otherwise you cannot kill. Whom are you going to kill? That is the first thing. If you are alone here in this world, you cannot violate this precept. Second thing, you must understand whether this physical body got a life or not. Understand? Because there are so many, sometimes dead bodies, look like dead bodies. So we want to cut or burn, and later we come to know they got life. Not yet died. Certain things look like a piece of wood. When you cut, you can see living beings running here and there. That is why he says, you must know that there is a life. Accidentally not knowing that there is a life, you may kill millions. It's not under that category. Because you never knew there is a life there. Take for instance, accidentally you kill human beings, not knowing that this is a human being or a living being, look like something else. You shoot. You have not violated this, because you never knew there is a life. That is the second one. Third one is the most important one. You have to implant or create the idea of killing. Otherwise, this will never become under this category. I want to kill. This idea must appear in the mind. In that mind, there is some sort of cruelty also. Every day you kill thousands or millions of other living beings. You have not violated this precept, because you never created the idea in your mind that you want to kill. When you drive your motor car, how many millions you kill on the way? All sorts of living beings. Sometimes cats and dogs or human beings also. But the purpose of your driving is not to kill. You never aim at them to kill them. Accidentally you may kill. You are not under that category. The idea must appear in the mind. Fourth one, some sort of method, either shooting or cutting or beating or poisoning. You have to adapt some sort of method to kill. Otherwise, how to kill? Simply by thinking that you want to kill, you cannot complete it. Just polluted your mind, that's all. Last one. Now you have adapted all the other 4 methods. You knew there is a living being. You knew this living being got a life. You created the idea that you want to kill. You adapted some sort of method to kill, but still didn't die. You have not completed. Therefore, the life must separate from this body. Then completed all the 5 factors. Then it will become a bad karma is called karma patha. That means by worshipping or praying or offerings or asking forgiveness, you cannot escape from the bad effect, because you have completed all the 5 factors. Before that, you have adopted 4 methods, but the life was not separated, still living. They are also bad karmas, but such bad karmas are not very dynamic forces. Some other good karmas can overcome them. Understand? But if you have completed all the 5 factors, this becomes very strong karmic force in the mind, you cannot escape. God also cannot forgive you. Buddha also cannot forgive you, because you have violated all the 5 factors. Remember. Another method. The validity or the value of a life we have to measure. Value of a human life, animal's life. The reactions or the bad effects we experience according to the value of that life. Say, a holy man, harmless man, full of virtues. He does lot of services to others, and you go and kill. The bad effect is very, very high, because you have destroyed a valuable human life. Again, you go and kill an ordinary man who does not observe even any of these precepts, but he is a human being. The bad effect is lesser than that. Again, you go and kill a wicked man who endangers the peace and happiness of innocent people. The bad effect is lesser than that. Again, you go and kill animals who go and disturb others and kill others, dangerous for our livings here. Again, the bad effect is lesser than that. Then we go on reducing. But in each action of killing, there is some sort of bad effect, bad karma. No one can say there is no karma. It is wrong. That is the difference. Again, the maximum lifespan. You kill living beings who live few hundred years, who can live few hundred years. Some others only 40 to 50 years. Some others only 2-3 years. Some others only few months or few weeks. Take for instance mosquitoes. How many weeks? I understand only few weeks. 1 or 2 weeks. A maximum lifespan. So the bad effect of this act of killing also depend on the maximum lifespan. See, very reasonable way the Buddha has defined. Although they are good or bad, all are living beings. If we destroy any of these life, there will be some sort of bad effect, bad karma. You cannot justify to say there is nothing wrong. So by knowing every living being's love is life, fear of death experience pain, suffering. So by knowing and considering all these things, we try to keep away from this act of killing. That is the first seal, first precept. I cannot give more than that because nearly 45 minutes for one precept. I have to explain 8 precepts, Next one, Adinnādāna Veramani Sikkhapadam. Not to take things which belong to others without their permission. That is called stealing. And if you cannot understand why stealing is bad, then you can think how you feel when others have taken away things belong to you. How do you feel? That is enough. No need to explain further why it is bad. And we pollute the purity of our mind, honesty or sincerity in our mind. By doing that, we damage others' property by taking their things without their permission. Under this stealing, bluffing, cheating, smuggling makes no difference. All are under stealing. So how many honest or sincere human beings can you find in this world today who never bluff others? That's why I told you, today I can tell at least there are more than 200 harmless, honest people in this world today. At least for 2 days. Because here you are not going to harm or cheat or bluff each other. Very good opportunity. Can an honest man do any business to make profit if he is honest? Because honesty is not a principle today. Crookedness, cunningness, cleverness, these are the humane qualities. If you want to be rich, be this cunningness, crookedness and cleverness. These qualities must be there. Then is what to do? Everybody is doing this. This is a very good excuse. When we point out that it is wrong, not justifiable, you say everybody is doing this. That's why I told you the whole world is corrupted, completely polluted. Immoral practices have become so common. If you know how to bluff others, your friends say, oh, he's a very clever man. You say, you know all sort of monkey tricks and how to bluff others. You are very clever. This is the nature. Very difficult to change your mind. Anyway, keep this in your mind that it is wrong. If you cannot practice, it is a different thing. Keep this in your mind that it is wrong. Don't try to justify. There is nothing wrong. You mislead others also. Then try to practice as much as you can. There are many occasions that you can practice this. That means honesty. If you are honest, you cannot do that. Still there are few in this world, human beings, So, the most dangerous human mentality is this: cunningness or crookedness in our human mind. You cannot find this amongst animals or other living beings. They do not know how to do that. Only human beings. They do not know how to bluff others. But certain animals who associate with human beings for generations also learn so many tricks, human tricks. Yes, dogs and cats and some other monkeys, especially wild monkeys, when they associate with human being, they learn human tricks and also pollute the human nature. This is actually a development of human mind. It is not a weakness. When human mind started to develop without proper training and guidance, we develop crookedness and cunningness because of selfishness. If we can guide, train this mind, then human mind become noble, useful, harmless life. So by observing precept or by practicing a religion, we try to be good in that way. Now that is the second precept. Now, is there anybody in this world or the follower of any religion who can say that all our precepts are wrong? Is there any sane person who can say? Even then, they say we are sinners because we don't kill even a mosquito. Therefore, we are sinners. You can understand the mentality. Then the third one, I think I can conclude with the third precept, continue tomorrow onwards. When we observe 5 precepts, we say Kamesu Michachara Veramani. Keep away from sexual misconduct. Misconduct means illegal, indecent and forceful, violent sexual acts. That is called sexual misconduct. Otherwise, Buddhism never talk against the sexual pleasure, never talk against it. Buddhism advises people how to experience sexual pleasure without violating the noble way of life. That means a respectable way, without disturbing others, without creating misunderstanding, enmity, jealousy, grudge. Reasonable way, people can experience sexual life. Buddhism never talk anything against. But when people observe 10 precepts and 8 precepts, they change this into another one. That is called Brahmacharya. You know the meaning of this word Brahma. Manussa and Deva and Brahma. Manussa, human beings, are higher than animals because of their mental development and potentials. Devas are higher than the human beings in worldly sense because they are fortunate enough to experience more worldly pleasure, sensual pleasure for a long period than human being. That is the only thing that they have. Other than that, we cannot regard that devas are more intelligent or they have more wisdom than human beings. No. They have more power, authority, worldly powers. Then Brahmas are higher than the devas. Why? Those who have trained their minds by controlling, calming their senses without becoming slaves to their senses, without becoming slaves to worldly pleasure, by knowing the fleeting nature or the impermanency of pleasure, in the end, which can create disappointment, unsatisfactoriness, and worries and so many problems because of pleasure. By knowing this situation, they curtail, they reduce so many things, calm their senses, their eyes, their ears, and the mouth, and the mind, and the body. They are not crazy for all sort of things, not crazy for sex, not crazy for indulgence, and train their mind. After they are dead, rebirth can take place in one of those Brahma realms. Those who accumulate a lot of merits to enjoy worldly pleasures, yes, can enjoy their life in Deva Loka as Devas, but they are not permanent, changeable. In the end, they do not know what to do, where to go. People cannot understand this. So, Brahmas have no sex. Sex means sex organs. Then you may think, then what is the use of going there? Can become a very dull place. I told you, those who have control their sexual urge and desire, grace, and because of this attitude, rebirth take place where they can maintain the same calmness, peace, serenity in their life. And here in this world you can see how people are fighting and killing each other, how animals are fighting, bite each other because of this sex life. Why people are crazy? Why do they introduce so many immoral practices, misleading young boys and girls, creating temptation in their mind to make money? You know, these people like this. Arouse their animal nature, sexual urge. Then they fight, they kill, they rob. They can do all the other evil deeds because of that. So, I told you the Buddha is very liberal-minded, understanding, religious teaching. He knew that it is impossible for householders to observe this in their day-to-day life. Impossible. Day-to-day life, only sexual misconduct. occasionally observe this. That means no sexual relationship. That means no sexual acts. Keep away from this. Only for 2 days. Because the Buddha knew that you cannot observe this. Then train. Going on training. After some times you get fed up with this. Forget about that. Then your mind will be free from so many other problems. Jealousy, grudge and suspicions, fighting, quarreling, argument, completely free. So now you are Brahmas, very noble. You never think of that. See how good you are. So I stop here. So far I explained only 3. We'll continue tomorrow onward. So last night I had to stop my talk after explaining only 3 precepts, isn't it? Panatipata, Adinnadana, Abrahmacharya. So the 4th one is Musavada, Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiya. Musavada means telling lies. Abstain or keep away from telling lies. When we use the word lies, there are few more items there. Because our mouth is more dangerous than our body. Mouth can create more trouble. If we know how to guard our tongue, we can avoid so many problems, misunderstanding, enmity, and also we can avoid many disturbances, and we never disturb others. Mostly we use our mouth to disturb others. Very seldom we use our hand. But the mouth is more powerful than the hand. Among all those living beings in this world, human beings are the only living beings who tell lies. Now we can understand how dangerous they are. Others do not know how to tell lies. Last night I told you, this is another development in our mind. To tell lies, there must be some sort of cunningness in our mind. Otherwise, there is no reason for us to tell lies. And there are 2 purposes. To gain something, we tell lies. To avoid something, we tell lies. And to disturb others, to hurt others, also we tell lies. To harm others, we tell lies. These are the purposes. But all these purposes are wrong. But beside these things, there are some other reason. For good purpose also we have to tell lies. To protect others, to save others, to support others, we tell lies. Intention in our mind is the important thing here. Karma, good and bad karma, we accumulate according to our intention, our idea, not the mere action or the word. So if we tell lies with selfishness, with jealousy or anger or ill will, our intention is bad. If we tell lies with kindness, compassion, to protect others, to avoid disturbances, this kind of lies we cannot regard as violations of the universal law. I can give a very simple example, then you can understand. There was a big battle between a king and his brother. Had a war. The brother was defeated. He ran away and entered into a monastery, a temple, and went inside the room of the chief monk and hid under the bed. The king and his army also came in searching. He heard that the brother has entered into the temple. He came and asked the chief monk whether his brother is in the temple. Now the poor monk is in trouble. See, he used the word vihara. This word we can confine only for the shrine room. Vihara usually we use only for the shrine room, the place of worship. But literary meaning, according to the dictionary, vihara means dwelling place. Whole monastery also we can regard as vihara. So what he did, he confined this word only to the shrine room. So straight away the monk said, no, he is not in the vihara. That means he is not in the shrine room. He is under the bed. He knew. If he said yes, immediately the kings come and catch him and kill on the spot. If he says no, without considering the meaning of this word, it will become a lie. To avoid both, he did like this. Another man who was caught by the government for stealing long ago. Those days, death sentence was the punishment for stealing. In certain countries, even today, they enforce this. The judge wanted to send him to death. Then asked whether he got anything to say. He said he knew the culprit, the victims. The chief monk of this temple is a very good friend of this judge, one of the devotees of the temple, this judge. He said, I am an innocent man. You know, the chief monk of this temple is my uncle. Then the judge had to think twice. So he wanted to investigate this. So went to the temple with this man and told he was caught by the police and got enough evidence to prove that he has stolen. So I had to send him to death. Then he says, you are his uncle. Is it true? This monk does not know anything about this man. He has never seen this man. Then he was thinking what to do now. If he says, yes, it is a lie. If he says no, then this poor man has to die. Then the monk said, who says that I am not his uncle? Can you understand the joke? Then he was thinking what to do now. If he says, yes, it is a lie. If he says no, then this poor man has to die. Then the monk said, who says that I am not his uncle? Can you understand the joke? Who says I am not his uncle? The king knew actually what is his idea. Then he said, all right, because of this monk today, I don't want to punish you. But you have to promise in front of him in future that you are not going to commit this kind of offenses. So he was released. So occasionally we had to adopt this kind of attitude to avoid so many problems. So intention is the most important thing. We cannot tell the truth always. There is a very nice saying in Bhagavad Gita, the well-known Hindu literature, religious book, just like Dhammapada in Buddhism, very nice saying in Sanskrit language. This saying is like this: Satyang bruyat priyang bruyat na bruyang satyam apriyang. Tell the truth, nothing but truth. But when your truth is unpleasant and harmful, better not to tell them. It's a very nice, very meaningful saying. You can argue. I revealed the truth, nothing wrong. Yes, but you never knew that the truth that you have revealed is very dangerous to many others. Supposing there is a very ugly looking girl. One of you go and tell this girl, oh, you are very ugly. Then others can, why did you say like this? It is true. This kind of truth. So that is called, you must know how to guard our tongue. We must know what to tell and what not to tell. It is a discipline. So this precept advises us to guard our tongue and tell the truth, and also consider the intention. Again, the trouble with us is this. Always we want to talk. For nothing we want to talk. When we talk, we create so many problems, misunderstanding, waste our valuable time. Then the Buddha's advice is, if you want to talk, talk something meaningful, useful. If you haven't got such items or ideas to talk, better not to talk. Keep quiet. Golden silence. Observe silence. Silence doesn't create trouble. Even then sometimes it creates trouble. When you keep quiet, others may get angry. Then few more. Harsh word or wicked word and frivolous talk, that means useless talk, meaningless talk. Then slandering or carrying tales. We use our word for various other purposes. When we want to attack others, we use harsh word, vulgar, wicked word. When we have nothing to talk, then we start to talk rubbish, unnecessary thing to waste others' time and our time also. Then very big mistakes amongst human beings, that they cannot keep quiet when they heard something. When someone is talking ill of another person, against another person, that person goes and tells the other person, do you know so and so said like this? And he add more salt and spices also, make more tasty. And that person develop some sort of enmity, anger towards that man, and create enmity and misunderstanding. This is our weakness. We are very impatient, we cannot keep quiet. That attitude is very dangerous. So these are the things that we violate by using our mouth. I think last night or Friday, Reverend Suvanno told that there is something in our mouth, isn't it? What is that? What is there? Tongue and the teeth. The Buddha says there is something in our mouth. What is that? Purisassa hi jātassa kuthari jāyate mukhe. Mukhe means mouth. In each and every person's mouth, there is a dangerous weapon. And the nature of this weapon is such, by using this weapon, we can cut others' throat. At the same time, we also cut our own mouth. That means the harsh, wicked, dangerous words that we use, we cut others' throat, we disturb others. At the same time, we also create very bad reputation, bad name, accusation, and also create bad karma. That is the way how we cut our own mouths. So observance of precept is for us to avoid, keep away from this kind of talk. This is the fourth precept. Next one, Suramere Majjapamadattana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyam. Keep away from intoxicating drinks or drugs or anything which create infatuation. That means some sort of mental imbalance or temporary madness. Intoxicate the mind and mislead us and persuade us, force us either to talk rubbish to disturb others, if not to do something, because at that time shame and fear, especially moral shame and moral fear, disappear from our mind. So under the influence of these drinks and drugs, we can do any immoral or vulgar, dangerous thing, because at that time we cannot reason out. We cannot think properly to understand that these things are wrong. By knowing this situation, many religions advise people to avoid this. Not only Buddhism, especially Islam and Buddhism stands very firmly. But some other religion like Christianity also advise people, but not very strict. I told you the Buddha is very understanding and liberal religious teacher. He did not say that you should not take liquor or alcohol or anything which contain certain percentage of alcohol. He did not say. That is why he used so many words there. Sura, Meraya, Majja, Pamadattana, Veramani. So why did he use so many words? To avoid misunderstanding and difficulties. Because in many drugs that we take for our sicknesses, it is written already the percentage of alcohol there. As devout Buddhists, when you see this label, oh, there is alcohol, we cannot take this because it is against our religion. They are not understanding Buddhists. To avoid this, many things, food, medicines, let us take water-bodies compound. When you take a bottle of water-bodies compound, it is written there, the percentage of alcohol there. So, medicinal, in our medicinal drinks and drugs, we take alcohol. idea is purposely, deliberately, you take alcohol to get a kick and to create hallucination in the mind. If not, some people say, oh, we can forget our worries. That is their excuse. So that means the mental imbalance eclipses the existing thoughts in the mind. That is why they say they can forget their worries. But after a few hours, the situation can be aggravated, worse than earlier. Invite more troubles and more problems. So, you should not go to such extreme to say that you cannot take anything that which contain alcohol or anything it is against our precept. Just like those who observe vegetarianism, also some have gone to the extreme, saying that they cannot food which were cooked in certain pots where people used to cook fish and what you call meat. That is extremism. The Buddha has never encouraged this kind of extremism. It is a middle path. Do things with understanding. Now, if you observe this kind of attitude, your life or your religion become nuisance to others, to your family members, to your friends. Very difficult for you to associate and work with others. Don't go to such extreme. You must know how to adjust and adapt your way of life if others are not harmful or dangerous or wicked. Then avoid only those things. Beside these things, there are so many traditions and customs and manners and attitude. Those things are changeable from time to time, from society to society, country to country. We also must adjust ourselves. Otherwise, you cannot live in this world. Now, when you go to another country, Europe or East or the West, different countries, their way of life differ. So as Buddhist, you must know how to adjust your way of life. The Buddha has introduced this religion for us to practice in any part of the world without facing such problem. This I noticed when I was in Mongolia. We went to attend a religious conference. At that time, it was very difficult to find vegetables. You know, in Russia, Mongolia, in those countries, at a certain period, they cannot grow vegetables. So at that time, they eat only rice or bread or meat. That's all. And we had to stay there for more than a week. And many delegates who have come from certain countries who are strict vegetarians had nothing to eat. No vegetable, no fruits also. Only bread without anything. No curries, no vegetable. Because they say we cannot eat meat. that is the very reason why Buddha did not introduce such restriction that Buddhists should not take meat or fish. There is no such teaching. The Buddha says it is up to you to decide. If you don't like to eat, don't eat. If you like to eat, you are at liberty to eat. In Buddhism, there is no such restriction. And there is no reason to take this or regard this as one of the greatest precept, highest virtue. Among those vegetarians, we can see number one, crooked and wicked and cruel people. That vegetable cannot change the mind. I think you have heard a man who has massacred millions of human beings. Hitler, in Germany, he was a vegetarian. You can understand the nature of the cruelty in his mind. So vegetarianism did not change his mind. And he is also a teetotaler. He never drink, never take any liquor, but never change the mind to be good. And among those who eat fish and meat, they are very kind-hearted, very compassionate, very understanding people. We cannot brand others, oh, they eat meat, they eat fish, they are sinners, they are wicked people. What have you got to prove? That's why we have to use common sense. Yes, from the medical point of view, today, many people have realized those who eat meat always succumb or very easily become victim to so many sicknesses. It is true. That is for the health reason. It is no religion. Very easily can get kidney trouble, heart trouble, blood pressure, and various other problems. Then, number 5. Number 6. This is an extraordinary precept that you observe occasionally, not every day. When you take 8 precepts or 10 precepts, you take this one, observe this one. That is, Uchchasayana Mahasayana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Not to use luxurious bed or furniture, comfortable, very comfortable furniture. It's not the height. Many people regard this, that we should not use very high chairs or bed. It's not the height. Comfortable. And the reason is, first you must understand the situation of the country where this precept was introduced 2,500 years ago. It is in India. And at that time, even today, majority are poor. And some have no shelter also. And many of their houses are mud huts, countryside. And they have no place even to keep a bed inside the house. So small. But all those rich people, kings and rajas and maharajas and multimillionaires, they use these luxurious things and use. And poor people, having seen this attitude, naturally develop their jealousy. This is the nature of human mind. But when you visit certain other countries where people can afford to buy a bed or a suitable chair or enough space to keep all those things in their house, but people never regard that this is a luxurious life. There is no such feeling in their mind because of the poverty. Now in certain countries, if we travel by a big motor car, people pass remarks. Oh, the monks use these big cars because they are very poor people. They cannot imagine even how to buy a car like this. But in this country or European country or Japan, when you travel by a big motor car, nobody says anything. Because to them it is very common. So these things we consider according to our way of life. Then what is the purpose? If you can afford to buy a very comfortable bed or luxurious seating, what you call chairs and settees and many things, you get used to this way of life. One day when your life get into trouble, drop, you can't afford to use this kind of thing, then the life can become a very miserable one, very inconvenient. Therefore, we train our life to get used to that hard life, tough life. Purposely we do that. Otherwise, nobody in this world who can say that it is a sin, it is harmful, it is dangerous or wicked. No ground to prove that it is neither immoral. These kind of precepts are under religious custom, religious tradition and religious manners. So many of those precepts belong to this group. Customs, traditions and manners in that particular country where that religion was originated. Take for instance, if the Buddha appeared in America or in Europe or in Japan today, I don't think he ever introduced this kind of precept. Because he considered everything according to their way of life in that country. So many of our Buddhists do not use their common sense to understand this thing. But even then, let us come back to the medical point of view. If we use very soft mattress, very easily we can get backache. Very bad for the backbone, spinal cord. Because when we sleep, if we can maintain our spinal cord straight without bending either this way or that way, very good for our brain and blood circulations and blood vessels and so many things. Now take in my case, if I happen to sleep using a very soft mattress, next day I had to apply minyasake, my back. Pain, very painful. I cannot use. Sometimes when I visit certain countries to attend some conferences, They provide us very big hotels. 1 bedroom, 1 room, very soft mattress. I cannot sleep. They pay nearly $200 per night. So what I do at night time, I close the door, take out the bed sheet and 1 pillow, sleep on the floor. And pay $200. To me, it is a real torture. For our blood circulation, that is very important. And many people use a plank. For health reason, it's very good. By considering all these things, the Buddha has introduced this. Those who cannot observe every day, at least occasionally, practice this. It is useful. Next one, Nachcha Gita Vadita Visuka Dassana Mala Gandha Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatthana. So many things included into one. This is very controversial. Some people cannot understand. What is the significance? Where is the religious value of this kind of precept? Especially in the Western countries, people do not appreciate this precept. They criticize Buddhism because of this. Natcha, dancing. Gita, singing. Vadita, musical instruments. Visuka dassana, cinema and cartoons and videotape, applying all sort of things here and there. Dharana mandana, then decoration, gold here, hanging here, all sort of things. And Vibhusanatthana, then all sort of other gadgets and decorations and ornaments and beautiful dress. Keep away from all those things. Then people ask, what is wrong? They do not do any harm to anybody. They beautify their physical body. They experience some sort of happiness through their dance and music and arts and culture. How can religion say that it is wrong? So this we have to consider by using our common sense. First and foremost, we must understand that why a religion, especially Buddhism, developed some sort of hostile attitude towards dance and music. What is the reason? The reason is, in India, 2,500 years ago, most of those entertainments performed by professional dancers, singers, and also loose girls to entertain the customers. And because of that, Buddhism adopted this attitude. Dancing, singing, merrymaking, all these things are wrong, regarded as immoral. That is how this idea was originated. But when we refer to the Buddha directly, there were many occasions. One of the best singers one day came to the Buddha, sit down in front of him, and started to use his musical instrument and singing. The Buddha was listening very attentively. He did not chase him away. Oh, you cannot play here in the temple. He did not say. In the end, he said, your voice, your rhythm, the method or the rhythm of the musical instruments harmonize and very soothing. He appreciated his talent. Here, the Buddha has given due credit to the art and culture. Then why do we observe this? To keep away from dancing, singing and merrymaking. The reason is, these things, these entertainments, provide food to satisfy our human emotion. You know, we have something which is called human emotion. And other living beings may have a little bit of, but we have emotion. Now, if we control this emotion by force, that attitude can create a lot of physical and mental problems. Please remember this. Now take, for instance, you like to listen to music. That is under culture. In fact, this is the cultural aspect of a religion. Then you like to see certain dances. The feeling that you gain at that time console your emotion, calm your senses, and some sort of refreshment. Then the mind and the nervous system and the senses automatically calm. This is very important for the human mind. Now, if you control this emotion by force, without entertaining your emotion, you become very violent, very aggressive, and some sort of mental imbalance also take place. Because arouse that emotion, after that no controlling power. Therefore, cultural aspect is very important for us to promote religion and to entertain human mind, to avoid so many problems. The time that we spend talking rubbish or developing our grudge and jealousy and ill will and so many things, and we forget everything when you listen to a nice music or when you see a nice dance. We can forget all this. Our fighting, quarrelings, arguments and enmity, jealousy, we can avoid so many things. But unfortunately, the cultural aspect of dance and singing completely polluted, abused. created some sort of dance and singing to arouse the animal nature of the human mind. Not to console the emotion, but to arouse and create excitement. The modern dances, modern singing, completely polluted. Therefore, we cannot regard them as entertainment today. See the difference now. Those days when they perform a dance, see young boys and girls dance together on the stage. But they never embrace and kiss in the public. That is under our culture. But today, how do they perform? When you see video program, what can you see there? Who introduced all those things? That is why I told you, completely corrupted and polluted our respectable ancient culture. Many people have realized that. I really cannot understand that certain programs in the television, although I have no time to watch the television, when some others come and see after news items and this and that, here and there I can see something here and there. I really cannot understand father, mother and daughter and children or sons all together. How can they watch this kind of program? I cannot understand. Because those days we maintained shame and fear and some sort of self-respect. These things are no more, all gone. And small children, say about 6 to 7 or 5 to 6 years old children, every day they watch all these programs. I heard in a school where they study was 6 years old small boy suddenly kissed another girl who was seated to him, also 6 to 7 years old. Then the teacher scolded this boy, "Why did you kiss this girl?" "Oh, I saw this kind of program in the television." From their childhood, they learn all these things. And when they attain certain age, no more controlling power, no shame, no fear. They demonstrate in the street, on the roads. That is what has happened to our culture. Oh, now religion interferes. Don't become slaves to these singings and dancings and merrymaking. You go on entertaining your emotion, no mental development, no discipline, no spiritual development in your mind. Occasionally, yes, no harm. It is not a sin. Don't regard this as a sin. No. If it is harmless or real cultural value is there, it is not immoral. You cannot regard this as immoral. Certain programs, items are very meaningful and moral lessons are there to learn something, especially for the children and young people. And at a young age, teenagers must have some sort of program. Through these channels, they can introduce religion also. Through the cultural aspect, they can introduce religion. But in certain countries, they try to introduce religion through those practices. Today they have gone so far. I think even today and yesterday also, newspaper, certain missionaries completely abuse name of religion to introduce their religion, to convert people into their religion. So far, in 2 countries, they have banned, arrested. In Indonesia and now in China. China has closed the gate for more than 45 years. Recently opened for religionists to go and practice. This is the way how they try to introduce religion. Invite young boys and girls, students, to come and join their religion and free sex to everybody. Wonderful way of missionary activity. What they want, any kind of immoral, cruel, harmful method, if they can convert people into their religion, that is enough for them. This is the way how they try to introduce religion. No shame, no fear. So what has happened to our culture? So, now you can understand why Buddhism restricted but not advises you not to enjoy dancing, music and musical instruments and entertainment. But occasionally you had to keep away from more, otherwise you become slaves. Natcha Gita Vadita. Visuka Dassana, all these cinemas, cartoons. Usually it is a very big business. They never consider the damages and the immoral aspect of their program. If they can introduce any kind of program just to create some sort of very fascinating, attractive, colorful, wonderful sceneries which young people can appreciate, they introduce. So religion advises us not to waste our valuable human life only for these things. Occasionally, there is no harm. You may forget your religious aspect, religious way of life, religious discipline. Then the decorations and ornaments and gadgets and what they call cosmetic and so many things. These things also create some sort of discrimination and distinguish the rich and poor. When you mix up with your beautiful, colorful dress and gold and diamonds and so many things hanging here and there, and all the poor people stare at them. They develop jealousy. Then such people need so many bodyguards also. And life also in danger. Why do they want to show off too much? Keep them in daylight. Usually ladies like jewelries. It is natural. But occasionally, when they are going to attend any functions or weddings or ceremonies, they can. But don't try to show off always. Life also in danger today. Even $25 worth of small gold chain or ring also more than enough to lose your life. And you create this temptation in the mind of those gangsters. You invite this trouble. Now if you go out now like this, nobody want to come and disturb you. Without fear in your mind, you can go anywhere now. Nobody want to look at you also. So you are safe. That is why religious life means simple and humble. Then purity is there. So try to keep away from all sort of extra gadgets. Then this will become a precept. On the other hand, by violating this, as I mentioned, you are not going to commit any sin, but going to invite lot of headache, lot of problem, insecurity and jealousy. So you can avoid so many problems if you can keep away from all these things. Use simple dress, especially when you are going to attend a religious service. That is very important. Temple is not a place for ladies or young boys to come and demonstrate their what call fashion parade, the nature of their dress and ornaments and decoration. And it is a place where people can maintain very simple, harmless and activities and without fear and suspicion and without having any insecurity feeling. Temple is a place to move freely. So if you use simple dress when you come to the temple, you can avoid so many problems. On the other hand, I have seen on many occasions, very sad to say, some young girls come to this temple, go to the shrine room also. From far distance, actually I cannot see whether they have any dress at all. When you go near, I think we can see that little bit, but far distance we cannot see there is anything there. I cannot understand how they can enter into a place of worship like this. And they also never realize what would be the attitude if they enter a mosque or a church or a Hindu temple. Because Buddhists have so much freedom, keep quiet, but they take the advantage. Why can't they use a decent, simple dress when they come to the temple? Because the temple is not a place for them to come and arouse the animal instinct of those young boys, After that they go and complain, those boys disturb us. They ask this problem. If they use a decent dress, those boys also never go and disturb them. So, this precept is for us to observe, to avoid so many problems and worries and responsibilities and risk, to lead a humble life. Then the last one, what is the last one? Vikala Bhojana. That one is the sixth one, I think, isn't it? Yeah, never mind, it doesn't matter. Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyam. Not to take solid food such as rice and bread and biscuit or any kind of solid food, and we fix the time. It is up to us. We fix the time from this hour to that hour. Nowadays we observe this from morning up to midday, about 12:30, according to the modern time, 12:30. Up to next day morning, we don't take solid food from 12:30 to next day morning. That means we take our breakfast and lunch. After that, only liquids, tea and coffee and fruit juice also we can take. So I have completed all the 8 precepts. Now you got the book with you. When you read, now you can understand. Otherwise, at once you cannot understand what is the meaning of this or that. Right.